Hi, y'all, and welcome back. If you're new here, welcome and glad you found us. I am JoJo, and it is great to meet you. We are about to talk about another true crime case and hopefully see justice be done. But before we do, please hit that like button. And if you haven't already, click subscribe and turn your bell notifications to all so you can make sure to be notified when I post new videos. Thank you, everyone, for all your support. It means the world to me. Now sit back, kick off your shoes, grab your tissues and stress balls, and let's dive in. The content you are about to watch contains the subject matter of a real-life true crime event. Therefore, it is not suitable for all ages and is only intended for adults. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome aboard. This video, I don't know yet if I'm going to split it into multiple videos because it might be a little bit long. I do have quite a bit of information for y'all. This is about the baby Emmanuel Haro case. Pulled up a few different articles that I wanted to go over with y'all. There's going to be some trigger warnings in this because of what we're going to be talking about. Above all else, just remember, tend to your mental health if this stuff does affect you. First thing I want to start off with is actually something that I've been thinking about for a while. Every day I go on to my Facebook page and I go to different Facebook pages that I know are pretty reputable when it comes to putting out posts about missing children. Well, just missing people in general. They do put out a lot of missing children posts, and that's pretty much the majority of what they're putting out. But they do put out like missing endangered adults. Some of them put out like cold cases where people have been missing for a while, so on and so forth. Getting to the point here, I go on and I do at least a minimum of a handful of shares on missing people that they have listed on their page. So I have decided to put up this post, which I just did it recently here, but I put up a post on my Facebook page, which is JoJo's Crime Lines and Mysteries. If you want the actual address, it should be down there in my description box, but it is facebook.com/JoJo's Crime Lines, all one word. So it's fairly simple. I put up this post here and it says, I have a challenge for everyone out there. Hashtag find our missing challenge. This challenge is super easy. Every day, go on your social media and make just one post. More would be even better though, with the above hashtag, and post information about a currently missing person. It can be a child, a teen, or even an adult, or someone who has been missing for a long time. Also, share a message on the post about this challenge and why we are doing it. The more people we can get to do this challenge, the more missing people stories we can get out into the public. And with any hope, bring these missing people home faster. It only takes a minute to help spread the word. And then I listed a couple of pages here that are great resources for finding out about current missing people. The biggest one that I usually go to is the National Center for Missing and Endangered, Inc. See, like I just did here in this one that I had posted, I actually went in and edited it, being that I'd already posted this one prior to deciding to post the challenge. I just went in and did this little edit right here. And all I did was I just put the hashtag find our missing challenge. And then I put post just one, more is better, missing person post a day on your social media, and let's help to bring our missing home. And then I just put a little heart emoji. The reason why I wanted to do this is, in my eyes, even if everybody out there did just one post a day of a missing person, could you imagine how many missing people's faces could go out there and be out into the public versus just, say, National Center for Missing and Endangered, okay? Just their page going and posting, which they post a ton every day. So it's not like you're going to be at a loss. And it's not like you're going to have people going in and posting the same ones over and over and over again, because they have so many that they are posting a day. And there are a lot of other websites out there, or even Facebook pages out there, that they do the same thing. They post missing alerts and things like that. And the more that we can put their faces out there with any hopes, the quicker that they're going to be brought home. and hopefully they'll be brought home safely. So please join me in this challenge and spread the word about it. And let's start helping out with trying to bring our missing people home a lot faster. So now we're going to go ahead and get into the main part of the story today, missing baby Emmanuel, which we all know by this point, he's most likely not with us anymore. And that leads me into this article right here. We're going to watch this little news video first. Now, this was reported last night, August 22nd at 7:26 p.m. and that's Central Time.
We begin tonight with a grim update out of Southern California. Police thought something didn't add up, and now the parents of a missing 7-month-old baby are under arrest, facing charges of murder. Good evening, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Vargas. Police continue to search for the body of 9-month-old Emmanuel Haro tonight. Sources tell NewsNation that police believe the father killed the baby, and they say it happened inside the home. Sources tell us a substantial amount of blood was found on the carpet inside.
Did y'all just hear that? Do I need to rewind it? A substantial amount of blood was found in the carpet inside their home. Playing the video.
The baby's mother, Rebecca, first reported Emmanuel missing 8 days ago on August 14th. She said that around 7 p.m. she was changing his diaper outside her truck in a retail parking lot when a man came up behind her, attacked her, and knocked her out. When she woke up, she said Emmanuel was gone.
I woke up right here on the floor.
Don't quit your day job, hon.
If you know anything, please come and bring my son back. Please, I'm begging you. If anyone knows anything.
Police reportedly found inconsistencies in Rebecca Haro's story almost immediately and confronted her about it. From there, everything went south. Police said Rebecca stopped talking. Investigators searched the parents' home, took their car, and issued warrants for all their phones and electronic devices. Child Protective Services took custody of their 2-year-old child. And Jacob Haro's criminal history quickly came to light. He was convicted of child cruelty, a felony over serious injuries to a 10-week-old baby girl back in 2018.
And we're going to be getting into that in this video.
In fact, a journalist told our own Ashley Banfield last night that the baby girl was hurt so badly she can no longer see, talk, or walk to this day. Let's bring in our panel of experts now. Kim Degonia is the former assistant district attorney for Riverside County, California. Bobby Chacon is a former FBI special agent, and Lauren Matthias is a journalist and hosted the Hidden True Crime podcast. Great to have all three of you here. Kim, I'd like to start with you. They've not yet found the baby's body, but they have already charged the parents with murder. How much evidence do you need before you can file charges like this?
Hi, Elizabeth. Thanks for having me. In a case like this, the standard is probable cause in order to have both parents arrested for the charges of murder. So it
there's
sounds
plenty
like
of that.
What your investigation has uncovered, that there seems to be quite enough evidence to charge both with murder.
Bobby, parents are both in custody tonight. They will obviously they're being held separately. They'll probably try and get one of them to flip and confess, likely the mother, correct?
Yep. The mom.
Exactly, Elizabeth. I mean, we've been down this road before. You pick out which one you think you'll have the most success putting pressure on, and that, in this case, because of his prior history, I think it would be the mother, and she's obviously,
the father's the one with the prior history.
Right, and the mother would be the one that you would put the pressure on, but it's her child as well. So I think that that's exactly what the strategy at this point is going to be. Really go with both of them hard and see if you can get some cooperation.
Lauren, sources tell NewsNation not only that there was a lot of blood inside the home, but that all the photos of Emmanuel had been removed from the house. All the baby's clothing had been thrown away.
And if you're trying to put off a kidnapping story, why would you go and remove all photographs of your baby and all the baby's clothing from the home? Make it make sense. That doesn't even make sense to me. That doesn't even compute in my brain. I mean, even as a mother, why, even if you knew that something happened to this child and you were making up this story, why would you even get rid of your own child's photographs? I mean, I understand the clothing, but the photographs, playing the video.
How long do we think this baby might have been dead?
I think that we are suspecting actually quite a long time, according to, the true crime podcasting community. They have been speculating when the last time Emmanuel was seen. We're hearing
at
various
least a couple
dates,
weeks.
some even saying as early as August 3rd, but there's no sighting that we have known of the day of this. Now we don't even have to say alleged kidnapping. Well, I guess alleged kidnapping still, but
Alleged murder in this case.
Alleged murder now, right? Exactly. Thank you, Elizabeth. And
exactly.
We are seeing this sort of pattern of it's been quite some time since baby Emmanuel has been seen. So who knows when this alleged murder now actually even happened.
Bobby, what do police do? I mean, you have a lot of experience in this. How do they, and we're seeing video right here. This is of Rebecca Haro being taken into custody, handcuffed. She's been officially charged with murder already. What do police do in this case? They still haven't found the body of this baby.
Yeah, and sound like that's the next biggest step. That's where all the resources are going to go into. And now what you're doing is you're looking at cell phone data. You're looking at if you can track their cars or their cell phones in the last few weeks, like we just heard. We don't know how long the baby's been missing. We don't know when the last time the baby's been found. They probably have an idea from talking to friends, neighbors, and relatives on who last saw the baby other than these two parents. And then so they can work from that kind of rough date. And then look at if you can somehow pinpoint the parents' movements, either through their cell phones, through the mileage on their cars, where they got gas, and things like that. I live not far from this area. I live about 20 minutes away. And
by the way, they disconnected the cell phones. You remember that first flyer when the alleged kidnapping happened and they put out that very first flyer that said missing kid and they had their phone numbers on it? Well, they disconnected those phones. I think it was shortly after, a day or two after that day. Those phones have been disconnected. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that the police could probably still get information off of them if they still have the phones and they didn't end up destroying them.
And there's a lot of rough terrain in this area. It's also very hot this time of year. It's 115 degrees in my house today. You have to just start looking in a lot of different places, and you have to be ready to go forward if you don't find the body, because there is that chance.
Baby Emmanuel Haro is believed to be dead, and deputies have determined he wasn't kidnapped, according to the Sheriff's Department. Emmanuel's parents, Jake and Rebecca Haro, were arrested of suspicion of red rum Friday, a little over a week after reporting the 7-month-old missing. Rebecca Haro claimed she was changing the baby's diaper in a store parking lot August 14th when someone knocked her out and took the child, sparking an urgent search for him. Emmanuel Haro wasn't kidnapped. Hours after Jake and Rebecca Haro were arrested at their home in Cabazon, the Sheriff's Department said they are now searching for the infant's remains. The investigation began on August 14, 2025, as a reported kidnapping at the Big Five in Yucaipa. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department immediately dedicated all available resources to locate 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro, the department wrote. I don't know if you want to watch this. This is of the arrest, so yeah, I'll go ahead and we'll play this one real quick. I think it's a short one. Oh, it doesn't start off with any sound. There we go. There we got sound. Herp walk. I truly believe that she is a battered woman, but there's still no excuse if she did something to that baby. None. And him, he's just a downright monster and should never have been allowed around any children whatsoever after what he did to that 10-week-old baby. Never. I hope Big Bubba finds you in prison, dude. No, they cut the audio out again. Wonder why they keep cutting the audio out. All right. Quote, during the investigation thus far, numerous interviews have been conducted, search warrants have been served, digital and electronic evidence has been collected and closely analyzed. Based on the evidence, investigators determined a kidnapping in Yucaipa did not occur. And I guess that would be an end quote, being that there is nothing there. Quote, it is believed Emmanuel is deceased and the search to recover his remains is ongoing. End quote. Sheriff Shannon Dickus, I hope I said that right, said, quote, the circumstances surrounding the investigation are tragic, and we will continue to search for Emmanuel. End quote. I trust our justice system will hold the parents accountable. Well, so do I, and so does everybody else in the world. Blood found in Emmanuel Haro's home. Blood was found inside the Haro home, and photos of the baby had been removed from the house in addition to all of his clothes. Sources tell NewsNation. Police grew suspicious of the mom's kidnapping claim due to inconsistencies in her story, and she declined to be interviewed further when they confronted her. Missing baby's disappearance suspicious from the get-go, neighbors says. Jake Haro, meanwhile, had been convicted of child cruelty years before Emmanuel disappeared after his 10-week-old, you hear that? 10-week-old infant, whom he shared with an ex-wife, was brought to the hospital with serious injuries. The girl, now 7 years old, was left unable to speak, talk, or walk as a result of the injuries. And I think that's it for this article. They've got some pictures here of the arrest, which we've already watched the video, so you've already basically seen all these because these are just screen grabs from the video. And this is missing baby's sister reportedly left unable to speak, walk after abuse. This is another video. This one's a little bit longer, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to watch this. Now, for this one, we do need to have our trigger warning up because this one is going to be actually talking about what this poor little 10-week-old baby ended up sustaining at the hands of this monster and supposedly his ex-wife.
It is day 6 of a desperate search for a 7-month-old baby boy named Emmanuel Haro. And the details that we've just learned about the baby's father and his criminal past, absolutely hair-raising. The number of children that have been moved out of the Haro home into the custody of others is nothing short of alarming. Let me take you back for a moment. Baby Emmanuel was reported missing last Thursday. His mother, Rebecca Haro, claimed that a stranger approached her from behind, said, "Hola," and then knocked her unconscious. She says when she woke up, baby Emmanuel was gone, right there in the parking lot, gone.
Yeah, don't quit your day job, Rebecca.
Rebecca's story didn't add up all the way. Rebecca refused a lie detector test, and both she and her husband have stopped cooperating with the police, the authorities say. To be clear, there have been no charges filed against Jake or Rebecca Haro. And Jake's attorney insisted right here on this show last night that his client, Jake Haro, is cooperating.
Okay, she said that no charges have been filed, and that's probably because of the fact that this does say that it was updated August 22nd, 2025 at 11:35 a.m. Central Time. Now, that was yesterday, which they were actually arrested yesterday morning, but it doesn't say when it was actually published. So I don't know when this was actually published. All that it says is just when it was updated. So more than likely this video ended up getting put out before the arrest was announced.
Despite that statement from the police suggesting otherwise. Tonight it is Jake's past, however, that is becoming a lot more worrisome. Yesterday we learned about his felony child cruelty conviction, the one that put him in jail for 6 months back in 2023. Both Jake and his ex-wife Vanessa Avina pleaded guilty to the charges, and tonight we have learned that crime was committed against his own 10-week-old baby girl, a child who survived but suffered horrendous life.
which we're going to be getting into quite a bit on this particular video, and that's the reason why I do have the trigger warning up.
Lifelong injuries. We've got photos of the child, and I should tell you that the family has given us permission to show those photos, likely as a warning about Jake Haro. But I do want to tell you this. When we show you those photos, they are quite disturbing, so fair warning in advance. Here is the little girl in her hospital bed, 10 weeks old. She is recovering here from several fractures to her ribs, to her skull, and to her legs. She is also recovering from a brain hemorrhage. This little girl.
Now tell me, he only got I think it was 160 days. I think it does say it in the article of work release. That is it. And then 48 months probation. His 6-year sentence, prison sentence, was suspended. That is all he got for what he did to this precious little child. Tell me that the system didn't fail this precious little angel. I have no words right now.
The girl was eventually removed from the Haro home, and she was adopted by one of Vanessa's cousins. That cousin has cared for this little girl and even renamed her. Her new name is Promise Faith. According to the cousin, Promise is now 7 years old. But take a look at this picture. The damage that she suffered from those injuries was permanent. Promise was left blind. Promise was left unable to walk. Promise was left unable to talk and unable to swallow due to strangulation. We are told from this cousin that Promise has 3% brain function, that Promise needs a feeding tube, and that Promise will need round-the-clock care for the rest of her life. So let's just contemplate this as you see these pictures. Jake Haro, who beat this child, received 6 months in jail and probation afterwards. The same cousin who adopted this little girl, Promise, also took in Jake's oldest son, who she says was born with fetal alcohol syndrome. That child was named after his father, Jake, but the cousin also renamed the little boy. His new name is Carlos. And now this same cousin who has taken in 2 of Jake Haro's children, one that Jake Haro beat into a lifelong condition, another that was born with fetal alcohol syndrome. Now this cousin is caring for a 3rd child removed from the Haro home just this week. A 2-year-old child was taken out of Jake and Rebecca's care. I'm joined now by true crime digital creator Abby Escobar, who spoke directly with...
Now, okay, how, after seeing that right there and hearing what she just said, please explain to me, make it make sense. Why is it that he was able to have any contact whatsoever with any child ever after what he did? I don't get it. I cannot fathom how anyone anywhere could allow him to have contact with any child after being convicted of doing that to his own 10-week-old daughter. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I guess I will never understand it because I cannot put my mind there, because I could never ever imagine being in that frame of mind to be able to even do something like that to a little innocent child. I can't.
This cousin who has been caring for these children, Abby uncovered these incredible details. First and foremost, I don't even know what the word is. Apoplectic, devastated, angry, all of the above. That these 3 kids have had to be moved out of the Haro home, and yet the Haros still had children living there. Let's just start right there, Abby. Child cruelty, a prison sentence, and this little child was left with lifelong incapacities. How is it that they still had kids?
I don't get it. It is such a huge injustice. I mean, they practically killed that child, and here they are just living their lives like nothing even happened. How is that
Exactly.
fair?
Well, and it's shocking to think that there were 2 other kids at least.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there are more, but Jake Haro Jr., renamed Carlos, and now this 2-year-old baby, not pictured on your screen. This is baby Promise, who's now 7, but another baby that's 2 years old that has been moved into the cousin's care, and of course, baby Emmanuel. How is it that the authorities allowed children to live in this home? Are we getting any answers?
Yeah,
Exactly.
you would think that any children they had would have immediately been taken by CPS just because of the history. But no, they were allowed to remarry, have more children, and nothing happened. I mean, this little girl actually...
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, this little girl has to fight every day just to stay alive. And they're out like nothing. It's just
and I'll
not
tell
fair.
you, it's hard to tell from some of the pictures we're showing. It's hard to tell, but Promise, again, who's now about 7, has some of the same facial features as her little brother, Emmanuel.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people have wondered, was Emmanuel beaten the same way that Promise was beaten so as to have rendered him with those same facial features? Do you know anything about that?
So I don't, but I've been talking about this on my TikTok and my Facebook, and there have been a lot of comments saying things like that. People noticing the similarities. It really has to make you wonder.
Well, all of it is just sort of unbelievable that these kids still lived in the home after this little child, Promise, was rendered in this condition from the beating she received from her father, according to the cousin. Let's talk about the cousin, Vanessa Avila's cousin. And let's remember, Rebecca Haro is the woman who is claiming that her baby Emmanuel was taken from her when she was hit over the head. Her husband, Jake, was married to another woman, a woman named Vanessa Avila. She also pleaded guilty to the beating of baby Promise. Why is it that this cousin feels it's so important to get this story out and to get those pictures out?
Well, I think that she feels that justice wasn't served the first time, which, I mean, it obviously wasn't, but she hasn't told me directly, but she has made comments to the point of, if justice would have been served the first time, then this wouldn't have happened to more children.
Exactly.
So she's personally affected by this
cousin, does this cousin of Vanessa Avila believe the story that the Haros are telling on TV in this clip right here, where she says, I was hit in the head, I woke up, the baby was gone.
Nobody does.
Please help me find the baby. The cousin doesn't believe it. What has she told you?
Absolutely not. Excuse me. She said that when she first heard the news story, it just broke her to pieces. She immediately had a feeling, as I feel most people have. I mean, the story just doesn't really make very much sense.
Yeah, the police have said it doesn't make sense. They put out a statement that her stories don't add up and that they believe foul play is possible. They've taken cadaver dogs to the Haro home. There are reports that there were some kind of digging activity at the Haro home as well. In the meantime, just knowing now about this history, about these 3 other children now living in Vanessa Avila's cousin's care, how are those children now? How is this cousin, and I understand she wants to remain nameless, she's also putting out a plea to everyone, please stop. Don't come to my children's school. Reporters showed up at her children's school. I mean, how are they managing through all of this?
The kids, they're wonderful. The cousin has provided these kids with such an amazing life. She and her husband, they love them. They take wonderful care of them. The children are happy and they're well.
I mean, Promise has to have round-the-clock care and a feeding tube. She's unable to feed because of the strangulation, reportedly. It's just... That is an
She's still a
enormous
beautiful
amount
girl.
of work that they are putting into the care of this poor child. I just don't understand how it only yielded 6 months and also yielded a father who was allowed to come out and still have 3 children in his home. That's the part I don't understand. Are there any other details that this cousin shared?
Well, she said that Promise, they were told that they didn't think she would even live a week after this happened.
Wow.
But they have done everything they can for this little girl to keep her going. She's got the tracheostomy tube. She has to be suctioned frequently so she doesn't choke on her own mucus. The feeding tube. She can't walk. She can't talk. She's blind. It's just horrible.
Amazing.
But I mean, she said that Promise is her miracle baby, and really she is. It's amazing that she survived that. 10 weeks old.
It is, but just tragic that she was, condemned to a life like this because of the acts of her father.
Absolutely.
If all of the cousins reporting, is accurate.
Yeah. And then he gets to remarry and have more kids, and there's no intervention, there's no concern. And now a 7-month-old baby is gone. I just feel like more should have been done.
And here we have this, this report at 10 weeks old. I mean, at 10 weeks old, a newborn is so helpless and so tiny and can do so little to upset us, except, create just the utmost joy to know that anyone was capable of creating that much damage to a 10-week-old. I dare say I am very concerned about baby Emmanuel and what might have happened to baby Emmanuel, but it's starting to look more and more suspicious, these pleas for help to find baby Emmanuel. Abby, thank you for your reporting. Break in to the show if you learn more throughout the, and I know this is all very much developing and you're learning as you go, but just break in and bring any new reporting that you get throughout the program. Thank you for this.
I sure will. Yeah, thank you.
Also want to let our viewers know that if you want to follow Abby, she goes by the handle Abby Blabby on her socials. She's been doing some pretty remarkable reporting on this story and other stories as well. So check out Abby Blabby, Abby Escobar joining us.
If only he would have been properly taken care of the first time that this happened and justice would have been served properly the first time, then maybe we wouldn't be here right now. It just so many mixed emotions right now at this point. So many. Let's go ahead and let's dig into the article. I gotta take a minute. I will be right back. Okay, y'all, I'm back. Sorry about that, even though it was no time at all for y'all, but I just had to go take a walk for a minute. So let's go ahead and dive on into this article here. New details have emerged about the injuries a missing baby's sister suffered years before the baby disappeared. The sister of missing 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro was badly injured at 10 weeks old to the point of no longer being able to see, talk, or walk, according to journalist Abby Escobar, and that was who you just seen talking on that video there. Baby Emmanuel was reported missing August 14th. His mother told police he was taken from the parking lot of a Big Five sporting goods store in Yucapa by a stranger who knocked her unconscious as she was changing his diaper. Warrants have been issued for cell phones belonging to Emmanuel's parents, Rebecca and Jake Haro, as deputies continue their search for him. Escobar, commonly known as Abby Blabby, told Banfield on Wednesday that Emmanuel's sister, Promise, Jake Haro's daughter from a previous marriage, who is now 7, was practically red-rummed by injuries she suffered as an infant. Escobar spoke with Promise's adoptive mom, a cousin of Jake's ex-wife. She renamed the girl Promise Faith. Quote, "They were told that they didn't think she would even live a week after this happened, but they have done everything they can for this little girl to keep her going." End quote, Escobar said. Quote, "She can't walk. She can't talk. She's blind. It's just horrible. But I mean, she said that Promise is her miracle baby, and really she is. It's amazing that she survived that at 10 weeks old." End quote. Okay, this is the clip out of the video that we just watched. I'm going to go ahead and skip playing that video, and I can take the trigger warning down now. Jake Haro pleaded guilty to willful child cruelty after Promise was admitted to a hospital with broken bones in 2018, according to the Orange County Register. Per the Daily Breeze, an affidavit citing comments from doctors at Loma Linda University Medical Center found Promise had an acute fractured rib, healing fractures of 6 ribs, a skull fracture, a brain hemorrhage, swelling of the neck, and a healing fractured leg bone. Now, mind you, this baby was only 10 weeks old at the time that they found all this. An officer wrote, quoting a doctor, quote, "The combination of the above findings in a pre-mobile infant in the absence of a plausible history of significant trauma to explain the injuries is indicative of abuse, head trauma, child physical abuse, and nutritional neglect," end quote. The outlet also reported Jake Haro told police his sister opened his iPad to a webpage that read, quote, "How to feed a baby with broken ribs," end quote. He denied to the officer that he'd used the iPad at the time of the search, which occurred before Promise arrived at the hospital in 2018. Quote, "She feels that justice wasn't served the first time," end quote, Escobar said of Promise's adoptive mom, which I totally agree. It wasn't served. The justice was not served the first time. Quote, "She said that when she first heard the news story, it just broke her to pieces," end quote. Quote, "She immediately had a feeling, as I feel most people have. I mean, the story just doesn't really make them very much sense," end quote. It didn't make sense at all. I mean, I know me personally, I didn't believe it one bit when the story first came out. I never have. And I'm quite sure I'm not the only one that didn't believe the story from the get-go. Police say Rebecca Haro declined to be interviewed further when they questioned inconsistencies in the story about Emmanuel's disappearance, and that detectives haven't been able to rule out foul play. Jake Haro's attorney told Benefield on Tuesday that he wants to cooperate with police and has handed over all his electronic devices and passwords. So that's the end of this article. So now we're going to go over to this other article here. This is by The Sun. This is where I wanted to start at. The search comes almost 4 years after Jake Haro and an apparently different spouse, Vanessa Haro, were charged with willful child cruelty in Riverside County after an infant was found to have fresh and healing wounds that placed it in critical condition. According to an affidavit written by a Hammett police officer to obtain an arrest warrant, officers investigated a report that a 10-week-old girl had been admitted to Hammett Valley Hospital on October 13, 2018, for treatment of broken bones. Vanessa Haro, also known as Vanessa Avina, according to the document, told officers that she had picked up Jake Haro from work and dropped him off at home on October 12 before driving to Beaumont to pick up her eldest daughter from school. She returned about an hour later and tried to nurse the infant, but she would not drink. Vanessa took the baby to a hospital. Okay, so now that's Vanessa, the ex-wife. That's her statement, her affidavit that she gave police officers. And now Jake's statement to the police officers was, Jake Haro told investigators that after Vanessa dropped him off, he took the baby's temperature and found it to be 99 to 100 degrees. He bathed the baby and accidentally dropped it chest first on the divider of the twin basin sink. He could not detect any injuries. Really? Could not detect any injuries? That night, Vanessa woke up Jake and asked him to feel the baby's back. He felt something crackle, quote unquote. The affidavit says Jake told the investigator that he did not feel the crackle after bathing the infant. Okay, this next part, we need to have our trigger warning up. So if you are sensitive to this kind of information, we are going to be talking about the specific injuries that this precious little 10-week-old baby had. Vanessa later declined to answer the investigators' questions without an attorney present. This sounds awful familiar, don't y'all think? Doctors at Loma Linda University Medical Center told the officer who wrote the affidavit that the baby had an acute fractured rib, healing healing fractures of 6 ribs, a skull fracture, a brain hemorrhage, swelling of the neck, and a healing fractured leg bone. The combination of the above findings in a premobile infant in the absence of a plausible history of significant trauma to explain the injuries is indicative of abuse, head trauma, child physical abuse, and nutritional neglect, end quote. The officer wrote, quoting a doctor. Jake Haro told the officer that when he went home after visiting the hospital, his sister opened the web browser on his iPad and found a search for, quote, how to feed a baby with broken ribs, end quote. Jake told the officer that he did not use the iPad at the time of that search, which was performed before the hospital visit. As the investigator continued, the officer wrote, Jake Haro blamed the injuries on his wife. Gee, I wonder, you think that he's going to try that one this time with Rebecca? But both were charged with willful child cruelty on October 5th, 2021. They pled guilty to the charge on June 8th, 2023. Jake Haro was sentenced to 180 days in the sheriff's work release program, given a suspended 4-year prison sentence, and was ordered to attend a child abuser treatment program. Vanessa Haro was sentenced to 120 days in the work release program and ordered to attend the child abuser treatment program. Shortly after the baby was admitted to the hospital, Jake Haro filed a request for a domestic restraining order against his wife. Family law records show that case was eventually dismissed. If y'all go and you watch where I go over the case record documents, I published 3 videos on Jake's case records. There are 3 different case records of his, or 3 different cases, I should say. So I published a video for each one of the cases. Case number 1 is the one that is dealing with child cruelty. And then the second one is actually a traffic offense and resisting arrest. And then there was also a failure to produce his driver's license. And then the third one was a violation of probation on the first charge, the willful child cruelty. And in there, they do talk about the restraining order or the CPO, but they say that it's a non-domestic, and it's actually talking about for the child, not necessarily for the wife or him putting it against the wife. It is against him, and the person on record is the child. So I'm guessing because of the fact that it was domestic, that it went through family law, which family law records, those are not public as far as I know, and that would explain why I was not able to view those records. But I did get the other record, and you're welcome to go and view those videos as well. All you have to do is just go to my playlist for Emmanuel, and they are in there. Those videos are in there. Jake Haro is due in court on September 2nd to answer to another charge, being a felon or addict in possession of a firearm. That is the violation of probation that he got. That is for the VOP. And there was also another charge in there as well that he's going to be answering for on September 2nd. And that is the end of that one. So now we are going to be moving over to where this will be a trigger warning. Meet Jake and his ex Vanessa Avina's daughter, now known as the beautiful name Promise Faith. Promise Faith is now 7 years old and has fortunately been adopted by Vanessa's cousin. Due to the brutal attack and abuse she suffered at the hands of Jake at only 10 weeks old, Promise has to breathe using a one of those tubes. Needs frequent suctioning so she doesn't suffocate on her own mucus. She is blind, can't walk or talk, has only 3% brain function, and is 100% dependent on her care. Thank God she was adopted along with her 8-year-old brother by Vanessa's amazing cousin and her wonderful husband. After seeing this, how is he not in prison for attempted red rum? How was he able to have and potentially hurt more kids? CPS should have removed any kids immediately. Promise and Emmanuel's stories hurt my heart and anger me beyond words. And you know what? I second the emotions that she has on that, because I feel the same way. I mean, it is just how? I mean, look at her. She's so beautiful. It's just so So heartbreaking. We're back to the beginning now. So now I'm going to take you over to another story that actually goes over to Rebecca's side. And this is kind of caught me a little bit off guard. To be perfectly honest, surprised me. But Rebecca's actually got a family member who has been convicted of red rum. I don't quite know yet how I feel about that one. And I would love to get y'all's opinions on this. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and we're going to read this article. And then I would like to get y'all's opinions or your thoughts and feelings, I should say, down there in the comment box, if you wouldn't mind. But this here is an article from News Channel 3. And this was actually back from October 1st, 2018 at 7:16 p.m. Man sentenced to 50 years to life for red rumming girlfriend in Palm Springs. A man convicted of shooting his girlfriend in the head at their Palm Springs apartment and staging the scene to look like she took her own life has been sentenced to 50 years to life in prison. James Bushausen, 35, was convicted in July of first-degree red rum in the March 15th, 2017, unaliving of Jaylynn Amanda Keith, 27. Keith was found with a single gunshot wound to the center of her forehead in the bathtub of the Belardo Road apartment the couple shared. Assistant District Attorney Michelle Paradise told jurors that Bushausen rendered Keith unconscious, placed the 27-year-old victim into the tub, then shot her while shielding himself from blood spatter behind a shower curtain. Bushausen told investigators, responding emergency personnel, and a 911 dispatcher that Keith had shot herself while he was asleep. Bushausen and his attorney, Greg Johnson, alleged that Bushausen's alcoholism, in addition to a debilitating illness Keith was suffering from, pushed her, okay, it looks like they're missing something there, like a whole entire sentence, but pushed her, I guess, to unalive herself. But according to Paradise, a head wound discovered by investigators occurred independently of the gunshot wound and hinted that Keith may have been assaulted in order to stage an apparent unaliving. At the defendant's sentencing hearing, Keith's family members conveyed how distraught they were over her unaliving and said they would strive to someday forgive him, while Bushausen, who joined his family members in addressing the court, decreed what they felt was an unfair trial and conviction. I wonder if Rebecca was there. The court heard impact statements from family and friends of both Keith and Bushausen, hoping to sway the judge. Quote, James will be able to see his family even if he is behind bars. As you know, we have no visitation rights in heaven, end quote. Lynn Hemphill, Jaylynn's mother, told the judge. Bushausen was unapologetic, maintaining his innocence when addressing the court. Quote, I will not beg. I will not ask for lenience. I stand before all of you innocent of this crime. In my mind and in my heart, I know the truth. I will not apologize for why we are all here today. End quote. Bushausen told the court that he felt at fault only for letting his alcoholism disrupt their relationship and drive him from understanding underlying issues Keith was suffering from. Quote, I will always wonder, had I lived the life of sobriety, would that have saved Jaylynn? Did alcohol cost me the love of my life? End quote, Bushausen said. Bushausen also criticized his own attorney. Quote, you made it look like an adequate defense, but you failed miserably. If you didn't believe in me, you should have passed on my case. You more than anyone owe me my life back. End quote, Bushausen said. Outside the courtroom, both Bushausen's and Keith's mothers reacted. Quote, we will fight for him because we all, his family, know that he's innocent, end quote, said Mary Bushausen, James' mother. And I don't know about y'all, but do you believe that Mary knows what happened to Emmanuel. I'd like to hear your thoughts down there in the comments. Quote, I feel like I've had the weight of the world taken off my shoulders. It's not going to bring back my daughter. It's not going to put back our family, end quote. Hemphill said, quote, we actually got the justice that we so deserve for Jaylynn. Bushausen and his family have 60 days to file an appeal, a route they say they plan on going down. Keith's family say they don't think they can't withstand another trial. Jake's Ingracia was the only reporter in court today for Busenhausen's sentencing. Follow his up-to-the-minute tweets from court below, which it's somebody embedded these totally wrong, apparently. They don't know how to embed properly. Assistant District Attorney Michelle Paradise told jurors that Busenhausen rendered Keith unconscious, placing her into the tub, then shot her while shielding himself from blood spatter behind a shower curtain. The defendant told investigators, responding emergency personnel, and a 911 dispatcher that Keith had shot herself while he was asleep. According to Paradise, a head wound discovered by investigators occurred independently of the gunshot and hinted that Keith may have been assaulted in order to stage an apparent unaliving. The prosecutor questioned Busenhausen's statements regarding the morning of the shooting, particularly his account that he spent 10 to 20 minutes searching for Keith after being roused from sleep by a quote-unquote popping sound that he believed might have been coming from their air conditioner. Paradise emphasized that the apartment was about 430 square feet. Wow, that is tiny. And that the bathroom would have been easily visible from the couple's bed. She also described Busenhausen as, quote, a gun enthusiast, end quote, who regularly went shooting and should have known what a gunshot sounds like. The couple's nearly 5-year relationship deteriorated over Busenhausen's alcoholism, leading him to undergo rehab stints and triggering several arguments between the two. I know all too well what alcoholism can do to a family. Paradise quoted a December 28, 2016 text from Keith to a friend in which she wrote, quote, James has been drinking for the last 4 days. This might be the end for us. This tops it all, end quote. According to the prosecutor, Keith had come to the breaking point in their relationship and was going to leave if Busenhausen wouldn't stop drinking. On March 14th, the day prior to her unaliving, Keith texted family members that Busenhausen got, quote, psycho on me, end quote, during an altercation in which he smashed his cell phone and screamed at her, Paradise said. Keith was going to tell him she was leaving him after he sobered up, and she was afraid things would get, quote, physically bad, end quote, when she told him, according to the prosecutor. In one text message, she relayed to a friend that Busenhausen had taken a pistol out of his gun safe, which scared her and caused her to take the safe keys and hide them, Paradise said. The prosecutor vehemently denied that Keith was self-harming and reported that even Busenhausen told police that Keith had never expressed any self-harming feelings. Busenhausen's attorney, Greg Johnson, argued that a bladder syndrome was causing Keith substantial pain and was another stressor on their relationship, pushing her to take her own life. How would a bladder syndrome, I mean, I understand there's substantial pain, that you don't want to be in pain, but there's ways to take care of that other than taking one's life. It doesn't make any sense to me. What do y'all think? That's a very weak defense. I'm sorry. He said 2 internet searches were made on her cell phone referencing intestinal cystis. I think that's how you say that word. One on March 12th on IC depression, quote unquote. Another on March 15th on IC unaliving rate, quote unquote. About 40 minutes prior to when Busenhausen called 911. Paradise countered that Busenhausen used Keith's phone to call 911 and was seen using her phone after investigators arrived at the apartment. The prosecutor called the searches, quote, a red herring, end quote, and, quote, an excuse to plant a seed because this is supposed to be made up to to look like a self-harm, end quote. She said Keith's doctor said her illness was stabilized, quote unquote, and that medication was proving successful in controlling her pain. But Johnson contended that Keith was in more pain, both physically and emotionally, than she let on to loved ones, and described her relationship with Bosenhausen as the final straw in a rough life that included losing her home, which burned down shortly after her father's unaliving. In the months following his girlfriend's unaliving, Bosenhausen quit his job and moved back to his hometown of McAllen, Texas, where he was eventually arrested by Palm Springs investigators on October 18th in the parking lot of a shopping center. Now, after going through that story, what exactly are y'all's thoughts? Do you think that something like this could actually run in the family? Because now we've got his sister over here, Rebecca, who is claiming an alleged kidnapping of her son, which we know that is a pretty good chance. Unfortunately, this baby is no longer on Earth. She staged this kidnapping. Now, I don't know. We're still in the dark as far as whether it was her or if it was Dad, if it was Jake. I mean, prior to reading this article, I was, it's definitely Jake. There's no doubt about it. His history says it all. It's him. But now I'm kind of wondering, could it either be both of them, or could it have been maybe an accident by her? I don't know. I still more so believe that it was Jake, because he's got that history. I mean, there's no denying that fact right there. But in the same token, Mom was the one on the media, and she was the one front and center putting together this alleged kidnapping claim. I still believe she is a battered woman, which usually most battered women are very submissive, and they basically do whatever the dominant male tells them to do, or the dominant person. I don't want to necessarily say dominant man, because there has been situations to where they've been controlled by dominant females. After reading this article, it kind of puts some more, or I should say, it puts a little bit of doubt into my mind as to, now I'm not so sure if it was just 100% Jake. So how do y'all feel out there? Because to me, this was a little bit of a surprise and kind of a shocker in a way. So I've given you a lot in this video. And actually, I don't know if I'm going to be splitting this video up, because it says that we're already an hour and a half, but I have a lot of cutting out to do, because there was a lot of times that I did get interrupted during this video. So we will see what it actually turns out to be in full length. So it might end up getting split into two just because of upload time. I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to end this video here, because I want to bring one more thing over and show you guys. Just before we go, I just wanted to show you real quick. I found their arrest records. This right here is Jake's arrest record from the newest charge. And as you can see right down here, red rum with malice. And this is for Jake. And then we've got one for Rebecca. She's charged with the same thing, red rum with malice, and it's a felony. And they were both arrested the same time. Arrest date and time, 8/22/2025 at 7:28 a.m. I'm going to go ahead and leave you with that. Now, I will go ahead and I will end this video. So, I will catch you on the flip side. And y'all, stay safe, stay happy, and we'll catch you later. Bye-bye.